My colleague Ashutosh Mishra is now joining me live from the Bhatwari village in the state of Uttarakhand. Ashutosh, this is unimaginable what has happened. We all saw those horrific visuals of the havoc that has now been wreaked in the state of Uttarakhand. The entire village was swept over.
And analyzing even the scale of this devastation is extremely difficult, Aishwarya. Looking at what is happening here, the weather is turning actually the hostile against all these efforts. In fact, as I tried to move from Bhatwari, while crossing all over the Delhi stretches, multiple landslides. Even at the moment, several such places we are seeing the cracks are widening on the national highways. And probably in a couple of hours, this part will be totally flown away. Look at the furious Bhagirathi. All across the villages, pockets, cities coming around the embankment areas of Bhagirathi have been evacuated. And this is what you see exactly the national highway, that is strategic national highway that connects Uttarkashi to further Gangotri and Harshil. So there are not just one pocket. This is one exactly pocket where I am at the moment. Most of the effort, the rescue teams, search teams like NDRF and ITBP, they have exactly stuck right here with me where I am standing at the moment. 3 kilometers away from there, there are another companies of these rescue teams which were advancing further towards Dharali and Harshil. So multiple landslides obstructing the rescue efforts, the mobilization of the team, earth moving machinery, heavy machineries. In fact, the sniffer dog squad has also, of the NDRF were just moved away, and through exactly in the dense forest area. They had to breach the forest areas and to cross the other side, where at least they could be moving in couple of kilometers, and by then probably in couple of in certain hours they'll be able to at least move more and more teams. Remember, whatever rescue and search operations is being carried out in Dharali is exactly with the limited number of the people, those who were there. Now their machinery, their camps, their headquarters, battalion headquarters, everything has been washed away. So that makes extremely difficult because you need certain technology, machinery to find of those people, those who probably be alive at the moment. So that's also a race against time. I still see people of the ITBP, NDRF, their whole company is exactly waiting like here unless the GREF and BRO team comes out and they capes in these mountains and make a separate passage. These all vehicles of the administrative team from the SDRF, from the NDRF, these all teams are en route to Dharali, and subsequent to that, if you see along the Bhagirathi, all these villages here in Bhatwari have also been evacuated. They have been asked to go to safer places on the higher edges. But now what it makes extremely the weather difficult. Now remember, we have these standby choppers of Air Force, Chinook, Mi-17, all these choppers are also standby. And that will be playing very crucial role as far as evacuation is concerned, and also sending the injured to the nearby hospitals. But because of the hostile weather, there is a constant rainfall, on and off rainfall, and that is also disrupting this entire operation. So you have a landslide blocking the access. You have literally roads caved away, national highways, that is also blocking the access efforts of the multiple agencies, and a huge number that is being advanced towards the epicenter of this entire tragedy. And moreover also the weather that is disrupting the entire operation, and that's exactly perhaps why we do not have a more and more number about this. One can really pray about that the casualty doesn't rise, but looking at this scale of devastation through those images, one could imagine and compare with what had happened in 2013 in Kedarnath. Now remember, Dharali being one of the most busiest town does not only invite the tourists but also Char Dham Yatra is underway. Dharali being one of the biggest city, the number of the passenger who would be probably staying along with the local could be huge. But until unless we have the access, because if you do not have a rescue teams reaching at the spot because of these hostile scenarios, clearly that makes entire operation extremely difficult. Aishwarya.
Right, Ashutosh, and it is pretty evident if it is so difficult for you to move from this spot to the next spot, then it is very, very evident that the rescue operations are also hit. A, by the weather, we understand that it's still raining across Uttarakhand, and two, because it has become so difficult to reach those people.
Also the communication. Now imagine if there are people who will probably be stuck in certain areas, there is no network access. Somehow a few networks are only working. So that also makes it extremely difficult to send out those messages. Subsequent to that, the essential is what is important, the first responders, the team of the search and rescue operations like these, the ITBP Jawans who have also been mobilized to that area. They all are just waiting here for an access. So local police, local SDRF teams, the ITBP, the NDRF, the machineries, because it's a hostile situation. And, the best effort could have been if they could be able to land a Chinook or a Mi-17 or, these heavy choppers, because these helicopters are capable of carrying even the earth-moving machineries, heavy machineries, maximum number of the personals. In fact, at certain altitude, certain areas have been marked by the local administration, the number of, manpower which is available, that these potentially could be placed where they can land their choppers. But because of the hostile weather, even the choppers cannot fly. Now, these persons who are stuck here along with me at this Bhatwari area, they're not even able to move other side. And if I could just zoom the camera on the other side, right exactly 3 kilometers later, there's a massive, huge companies of rescue teams who are still stranded there because another similar landslide and similar road caving in has happened 3 kilometers ahead. So unless you evacuate the entire area, unless you prepare the road for the transportation to move the heavy machineries, vehicles which has these equipments, that will be essential for the rescue and search operations by all these are multiple agencies. So that's exactly why we are seeing the entire situation is actually turning hostile for this rescue and search operations in Uttarkashi. Aishwarya.
Ashutosh, one of the other things, and this is something which the point where you are standing, it becomes very, very clear. Landslides is still something that can be worked about, but if the highways start breaking, like the one right behind you, then it will definitely become extremely difficult. Only on foot can you travel from one spot to the other.
I could tell you exactly at 11:30, a few teams of the rescuers, they passed through this stretch. In fact, this road was quite alive at that time. So this part we only see, exactly this road was quite alive. When I reached it here around 2:30 or 3 o'clock, there was literally absolute dark. There is no electricity in this area. We could not imagine that perhaps the entire road has been washed away. So this is not washed away. This has exactly caved in. The entire road has gone down. And because of the reason could be the flow of Bhagirathi river. This is cutting down the debris on the entire highway. So literally caving in from the downwards. And perhaps the reason why I see the entire road literally sinked in, caved away. And because of you do not have now national highway. This highway is totally disconnecting. One of the very strategic highway. There you see some personals, local villagers who are, so 150 meter of the stretch. Unless you have an alternative route. Now the GREF team and the BRO team that has been called in, what they will be doing is, they will exactly cutting the mountains and making a slope, making alternative passage, at least a 15 to 16 feet wide road.
Right.
Only with that be able. So that will take on at least 4 to 5 hours, because, and only through that passage they'll be able to move the machineries towards the epicenter of this calamity. Aishwarya.
Right, thank you Ashutosh giving us all those details. Stay safe Ashutosh, because the spot where you are, it's very, very evident how difficult it is to survive actually in these areas where we are seeing massive landslides taking place. My colleague Anjali Istiwal is also joining me on the show. Anjali, we understand it has been raining continuously. The rescue operations have been badly hit. We understand there are several choppers waiting with NDRF teams in Dehradun but not able to fly because of incessant rainfall that we are seeing.
Absolutely, Aishwarya, as you would see, the way I'm standing in the midst of rain, this is the situation across Uttarakhand. Red alert, orange alerts have been sounded off for various districts, and rescue operation in such conditions is extremely difficult. But because of the caving in of roads in certain areas, the NDRF teams are trying to reach the location by foot. But it's not an easy job to do in such weather conditions. We have to understand that that area, the road that was, the access to that area has completely been washed off. And there is no communication to that particular area. So Dharali floods, the flash floods that came have completely washed out access to them. So this is going to be a challenge for the NDRF or for the SDRF. The only first responders over there, the ITBP and the army, they were able to help out and rescue 130 people. And that's a good number, a huge number and a huge achievement for us. All we can do right now is pray for the weather to clear up. But although the Met Department has said light to moderate rainfalls, but in certain areas of Uttarkashi, it has also predicted thunderstorms. So that is going to be a little problematic as far as rescue operation is concerned. But 3 points of flash floods due to cloudburst yesterday there has created a situation where Bhagirathi is also going to be heavily inundated.
Thank you, Anjali, giving us all those details. Very, very evident. The spot where my colleague is now standing, it has been raining in several parts of Uttarakhand continuously. And one of the reasons for the flash floods are these continuous rains that are taking place in the state of Uttarakhand now.